The war in Afghanistan concluded quietly at 3:29 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, with a C-17 flight out of Kabul, bearing just a few passengers, including the final U.S. military commander on the ground and the last remaining chief U.S. diplomat there. American military planners informed their Taliban counterparts of roughly when and how they planned to leave and briefed the U.S. press shortly after 4:30 p.m. when the final aircraft cleared Afghan airspace. Now, our 20-year military presence in Afghanistan has ended, President Joe Biden said in a statement released after the departure of the plane. It ended what began in the days after September 11, 2001, with one of the U.S. military's most stunning demonstrations of power across its arsenals, from covert operations on the ground to incredibly sophisticated airpower overhead. Monday's flight departed 2 weeks after the Taliban's lightning onslaught across the country, forcing chaos on the ground that America has left behind. The insurgent group toppled the U.S.-backed government within 24 hours of arriving at Kabul, securing the capitulation of the trillion-dollar infrastructure that 5 American presidents hoped would last without direct Western support. And it leaves behind a series of troubling questions, beginning with the fate of the remaining Americans, eligible Afghans and third-country nationals that desperately attempted to get to the Kabul airport before the Biden administration's self-imposed deadline of August 31, but could not due to the dangerous security situation on the ground. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said in televised remarks Monday evening that the U.S. will continue to work to support Afghans, including through continued support to UN agencies and non-governmental organizations operating there. We expect those efforts will not be impeded by the Taliban or anyone else, Blinken said. U.S. military commanders confirmed Monday afternoon that many remained locked in the country under Taliban control, but said the State Department, without an official presence on the ground, was now responsible for negotiating their withdrawal. They now face increasingly potent threats from empowered terrorist groups, chiefly a branch of the Islamic State group known as ISIS-K, that carried out a deadly attack on the airport last week that killed U.S. service members and has designs of further violence. Yet the White House has stood firm behind its decision with an apparent sense of inevitability, citing the work of the U.S. military to carry out its largest airlift in history. They have done it with unmatched courage, professionalism, and resolve, Biden said in his statement Monday, adding that he would address the American public on Tuesday regarding why he did not extend the U.S. military presence to try to bring home the remaining Americans in Afghanistan and other partners there, a decision he said had unanimous support from the Joint Chiefs of Staff and commanders on the ground. The 5-paragraph statement amounted to his first on Afghanistan since public remarks last Thursday about the conflict, in which he pledged retaliation for the 11 dead Marines, 1 dead sailor and another soldier who died in the bombing at the airport, many of whom were infants during the September 11 attacks. It remains unclear precisely how the U.S. plans to proceed in Afghanistan. Administration and military officials on Monday suggested the U.S. maintains, as White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki put it, an enormous amount of leverage over the Taliban. Yet the U.S. no longer has a presence on the ground there, and other world powers, chiefly Russia and China, who hold consequential sway in world forums such as the United Nations, have already recognized the insurgent network as the rightful government in Kabul. Blinken on Monday said the U.S. diplomatic presence for Afghanistan will set up in Doha, Qatar, with a new leadership team. He referenced a UN Security Council resolution earlier in the day that includes an expectation the Taliban will adhere to its own prior pledges to allow anyone to leave Afghanistan who wishes to do so, including Afghans who worked with the U.S. during the war,